And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that break. We have returned with our second match of the night, with our second series of WTL 2024 Summer Codex Round 2, Day Number 2. We have returned with Shopify versus Twisted Fairy. Let us go. We have our lineups. We have Lambo versus Nice in a ZVP. We have ByuN versus Stats in a Terran versus Protoss, and Harstem versus Classic in a PvP. Oh boy, here we go. Quite a lineup here, of course. Twisted Fairy had a rough start to the season. They did take a loss in the first round. Meanwhile, Shopify, the opposite. They were able to take a win in the first round against Berserker Esports. They still had a very close series, though. If you remember, Harstem versus Battle B was a 1-1 score. Scarlet versus DNS also 1-1 as well. ByuN did end up carrying Shopify into their win in week 1. How are things going to turn out here in week number 2? As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Lambo for Shopify Rebellion. And in the top right, we have Nice for Twisted Fairy. And if you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open, so you can place your bets on who you believe is going to take this initial best of 2. Best of luck. Best of luck in said chat. Until then, we are just settling into our openers again. We're loading into Post Youth. Post Youth is a very unique map in the map pool, has a pocket base, has a free natural in the main, so you are free to expand and free to be a little bit greedier here than you would otherwise on other maps. And if you're in the chat, there they are. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on how you think the series will go. And as you're placing your bets, a big shout out to Koremisago in the chat. 41. Thank you so much for the subscription. God, papi, God. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the stream. Hope you enjoy the cast. If you wish, you can join our Discord server. If you do, subscribers do gain access to replays. We do give out replay packs from tournaments we have permission to, from events that we host ourselves, from OSC events, from Kung Fu Cups, for example. So again, replays are available if you want to learn or even watch yourself some of these games from some of the best players in the world. We got you covered with those replays. Otherwise, enjoy. Otherwise, enjoy as Lambo is rushing into the goal. Okay, so it's going to be hatch first. It's going to be a hatch pool opener here from, hatch gas pool opener here from Lambo, with the hatchery being taken as the gold base. Nice has yet to confirm. He's looking for the gold, does confirm that there is no natural being taken, and now we'll check the gold base. We'll confirm the shenanigans that Lambo is up to. Does confirm, even stealing some of those minerals as well. And the question becomes, how does Nice respond? How does he punish this? That becomes the next question here. Again, we saw Wayne earlier today attempt to expand and attempt to take this base, but Wayne was punished by Cyan. We'll see if Nice can do the same. For now, it is going to be a gate expand. We do have our Cybercore in production as we speak from Nice. Quickly checking, was it a 2-gate opener? I think it was. No, okay, one gate. I saw the pylon on the minimap and I thought it was another gateway. So just single gate expand opener here. So standard response by Nice, going for a Zealot first. Interesting choice, being a little bit safer than normal before going for that Stalker. It is going to be a Stargate opener. So with this, Nice isn't responding too hard. He's not going for an initial Adept. He's actually making a second Stalker behind this. Interesting. Okay. So 0 Adept aggression. 0 Adept harass here from Nice. Is getting into Stalkers, followed by Oracles, I imagine, but only going to be relying on those Oracles to harass across the map. Outside of that, the Stalkers are getting map control. Here we go. As the Overlords are being forced back. Third base is being taken here by Nice, and interesting, we're not going for the Oracle, we're going for a Void Ray. Nice, he's allowing Lambo to get away with this, by the way. We have no aggression whatsoever, no Adept harass, no Oracle harass, no nothing. Just getting into our own third and getting into a Void Ray. This means that Lambo is freely mining from that gold. He's working towards his hybrid natural as well, working towards his third. And Lambo, he's cutting some drone production here. Very early Roach 1 we're pushing. Okay, Lambo's going for an all-in. Lambo is going for an all-in off of this gold base. Lings are amassing. Queens are on the way. Roach production is about to commence. And we are boosting. We're just spreading that creep as quickly across the map as possible. Nice is in trouble and Nice does not know. Nice is in the dark. And why does he not know? Because it isn't just about Adepts and Oracles harassing. Adepts and Oracles, they also keep eyes and tabs on your opponent. They allow you to get an eye on the drone counts, on the queen positioning, on the creep, on the army as well, and on the tech timing. But Nice, he doesn't see any of that, and here comes the all-in. The all-in from Lambo is on the way, and Nice is in the dark. He has the one Void Ray, he just shut down an Overlord. Oracle comes in, does get eyes on the army itself, but we just threw down 2 Robos! Oh my god, 2 Robos and a Forge as well! Nice is being too greedy. He's taking up so hard, and he has to give up on the third. There's no saving the third base. Nice, he knows it. He cannot defend. But can he even defend his main? You can see in a panic, we have 2 shield batteries on the way. A backup pylon as well. Good force field on the ramp. And that's going to be a kill on the Nexus. And we can see that Lambo, he's content with this Nexus and he's droning up back at home. Lambo is now droning. Is bleeding out a couple of drones to this Oracle, but only 2 workers. And there's that kill on the Nexus. From here, the Queens should be racing back home. Yeah, there we go. They do turn around. Queens, they race back home, and all Lambo has to do here is just contain. Just contain for as long as possible, drone up behind this, and work on Lingbane Roach Ravager. Nice has some recovering to do. Once again, good force field, though. Oh my god, Nice. Catching a lot of Lings and Roaches, to be honest. That's a good chunk of army going down for free. Not bad here. As I say that, we do bleed out the Oracle. That's less nice. So the Oracle was thrown away, but we did catch a good number of units there. So not a bad trade from Nice. He's still behind, don't get me wrong. He's still stuck on 2 bases. We're making 2 Immortals at a time, plus 1 attack, and the Twilight Council's on the way. Now, without a Twilight Council, I can't imagine Nice being too aggressive. Without charge or blink or anything of the sort, he's probably going to be stuck back at home defending. Which means that Lambo is free to drone. Lambo is free to be greedy and cut corners. He is taking a 4th, but we can do more than that here. For now, we have charge on the way. Lair just finished. Remember, Lambo earlier was very committed, which means his lair is late. His lair is late, his upgrades are late. There's no Evo chamber, there's no +1, there's no +2 or anything like that. There are other things that Lambo has to catch up on as a result. And there it is, +1 range just now begins. Ooh, and that's a brutal supply block. What I'm getting at is that Nice has a way to bounce back, but it's not going to be an easy road to take. Nice, he has, yeah, it's still quite a bit to climb. As the Overseer is being shut down, we have Blink on the way. Nice does have an upgrade advantage, again, because there was no +1, or the Evo Chambers behind this. So Nice is going to be able to get into +1 and +2 that much faster. Disruptors on the way. I like this from Nice. So Disruptors, they're very high. Oh, never mind. I was going to say Disruptors are very high risk, high reward, and considering that Nice is behind, Disruptors would be a good way to bounce back in supply and get some big Novas off. As I was saying that, though, he cancels the Disruptors. Nice force fields on the Queens, but they transfuse each other. We keep each other alive. The surround! The Immortals are being caught out. We force the recall, and we do focus down the Void Ray. Not the Immortals, though. They do manage to get away, but you can see we don't have an army. We don't have an army. Nice was hoping that Lambo would back up, but Lambo, he has the killer instinct to move out across the map. He's going for the kill, going for the throat. And Nice is just not ready for this. Nice, he needed time, and time is something that he did not have, that Lambo did not give him. GG gets called, and Lambo takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Happy. GG, well played. Again, Nice, he did cut a lot of corners. He was being very greedy, and it does kind of come down to his opener. Remember, Nice, he went double Stalker. He didn't make a single Adept at the start of the game. He didn't make an Oracle either, and that means 0 scouting information. Here we go. In the top left, we have Lambo for Shopify, and in the bottom right of Golden Aura, we have Nice for Twisted Fairy. But again, because Nice had no means to scout, I mean, there are ways to make up for that. We can go for, say, a hallucination scouter, we had a sentry, we can fan out some probes. We needed something, anything to scout our opponents, and unfortunately we had no idea what was happening until it was already in our face, and by then it was too late. By then, Nice had already made additional gateways, had already made 2 more robos, had already made a forge for upgrades. He was already investing his money into tech, whereas he needed it in an army, in defenses back at home. You know, it is possible to defend that third base there for Nice, if only he knew it ahead of time. So it was just a very strong start for Lambo, and yeah, Lambo just secured his win. Just made sure he hit Nice before he was able to build back up. And that is a Nexus first. Let's go. We're settling into game number 2. This is Nice's map of choice, and Nexus first here from Nice. Bold move, but I kind of like this. Obviously, Lambo, he's not above going for 2 and 3 base all-ins. I mean, that's what we had last game. It was essentially a 2 base all-in. Third was just for Larva. That's what we saw last game. But the likelihood of Lambo going for an earlier pool timing or some earlier game aggression than that, not very high. So Nice being a little bit greedy here, and he should be able to get away with it. So it's going to be a Nexus first into a 2-gate opener. Okay, this tells us that Nice, I imagine, is going to be a little bit more aggressive with the depths. He will be active with Glaive Adepts. I'm getting ahead of myself. With Adepts, of course. Vanilla Adepts. Can get some damage done. Can scout, of course, across the map. We shall see. So we are settling into our game. As Cybercore now in production. We have our Safety Zealots on the way here for Nice. Here we go. Has a Harstem WTL match already been pre-played, seeing as he is playing in ESL in 20 minutes? Typically, if that's the case, they will play their games ahead of time and submit replays. For example, this series here between Lambo and Nice is done by replays. Why? Or how can we tell? No cams. There are no cams right now. Usually that is indicative of the players playing ahead of time and submitting replays just because of something like ESL clashing scheduling wise. So I'm pretty sure that Harstem has done the same. The only people that know of the outcome of these games that have been submitted are the players themselves, and maybe the teams themselves if they told them. But outside of that, we don't know the outcome, don't know what has happened. Experiencing it for the first time here. Here we go. Again, Lambo scouting across the map, going for the Stargate. Or does confirm the Stargate that's on the way. As a reminder, last game at Nice did go Void Ray first, and I would not be opposed to another Void Ray opener to go into a more standard game and to hide the build overall. As there we go, Adepts are on the way. This time we will have something on the map to scout and to harass. That is a brutal supply block, wasting a chrono boost on the Stargate, less than ideal, but it is going to be the Void Ray. And again, I do like this. I like the idea of, if you go for a Void Ray opener in game 1, to go for it again in game 2 and have a different build as a follow-up, because there's a lot available to you. There's a lot of different builds, there's some cheese, there's some standard play after a Void Ray based opener. So we'll see. We shall see. As Adepts, they do cancel the shade. Boys are being pulled, by the way. Where are the Lings? There are none, and we're getting a lot of damage done here. There is no WSS Game Hard, but that's going to be, what, 4 or 5 drones going down. Very nicely done by Nice. Gets a good chunk of workers. Does confirm saturation. Does confirm the lack of army. And we also shut down that Overlord. Meanwhile, I believe there is still no tech. There's no Bailey Nest. There's no Roach Warren. We're going Lair first. This tells us that Lambo isn't being aggressive, that he is going for the mid game. That's around a 4-minute 30 Lair timing, so he's just happily droning, getting his third base. And Nice, as that is happening, is rushing to a fleet beacon. Okay. And this is something you can do off of a Void Ray opener. Again, because there's no Overlords, because there's no scouting, we are rushing into either Carriers or Tempest. Both have their roles, both have their place. But we are planning to rush into Skytoss. Oh boy. Okay, Nice. We'll see what you got. And again, this time Lambo won't punish him. If you remember last game, Nice was being very tech heavy. He was punished for it. Lambo did go for an all-in and crippled Nice before he could get going. This time, Nice should get away with these carriers. Oh my god, but Lambo throws down the Spire! Bearing in mind, he is not scattered, he doesn't know what's going on, but I believe this Spire is for Muta play. I believe he's planning to go into Mutas and will happen to have the Spire for Corruptors as well. So, Lambo's gambling a little bit here, and this is going to work wonders for him. Like, again, right now he's not thinking of carries, he's not thinking of Sky Toss, he's thinking of his own Muta play. But it's all going to work out a little bit better here for Lambo. Tech-wise. Meanwhile, still being active with his Lings, poking in. There, of course, has been done. We haven't seen an Overseer Scout yet. Is this played live? Yes. Yes, the stream is live, but these games were submitted ahead of time. From our understanding. Slings, they do get eyes on the would-be 4th base. Slings are amassing 4th bases on the way. There's +1 air attack. Carriers have yet to fully reveal themselves. Not yet. Oh, but the Lings, there we go, as they check the natural, they do confirm the Cybercore researching, they confirm the carriers, and Corruptors are now on the way. Big scout here from Lambo. Did not waste any resources on Mutas. Corruptors are in production. So Lambo's in a really good spot. There's no, like, 3 or 4 carrier timing that Nice can hit anymore. He's working on a Mothership, working on Blink, +1, Templar Archives is on the way. He's looking to support his Sky Toss. And what I like here is that he's not making too many carriers. He's focusing quite a lot actually on more supportive units and a ground-based army. Corruptors reveal themselves, they shut down the Oracle, they're working their way towards that 4th. Lings are coming in, only 4 Stalkers. Good positioning though. Good positioning overall. Blink is still not done. But you can see Nice has to be very careful with these carries. He cannot expose them, cannot push in. Otherwise he's going to be punished. But there we go. He now has a safety of the shield battery and an overcharge as well. He is over that 4th. Now the goal of Lambo would be to try to drag the carriers out of position, if at all possible. Bearing in mind as well that Lambo does not know that Blink isn't done. So just being very careful with those Corruptors. Gets into the main, going for the Templar Archives. A big snipe will deny Storm. That is huge. Yeah, Storm is shut down. Lambo's maxed out. He's been able to drone up to 87. That's the other plus side here. Because Nice is being so tech heavy, this is why what I assumed that Lambo would have done in game 1 is you can just drone up to 80. Drone up to 80, take your entire half of the map. And now with the better economy, max out. And now we're coming in. We have Queens, Roaches, and Ravagers towards the left-hand side. Creep is spreading. Carriers are forcing back the Overlords though. Bit of an awkward push there from Lambo. Weeds out a Queen. So good start from Nice. Now how's he supporting his army? Storm is restarted, +2 air attack on the way. We're getting to Void Ray production once again. Corruptors are pushing in. We do have those shield batteries. The Biles! Ooh, they don't quite shut down the cannons. They take down the Stalker. But Nice, he's holding. He is holding strong here. And Lambo cannot break this. We force back the army. We kill the Queens. Lambo does at least escape with his Corruptors. Didn't really bleed out any of them, but did lose all of his Queens. So that was a brutal fight. Again, you can see just how heavily fortified Nice was. Really what Lambo has to focus on here for now is just containing. Just make sure that Nice cannot expand and take a 5th. Make sure we deny a 5th base, and tech up into Brood Lords, into Lurkers. We can see here Hive just started. That Hive is a little bit late. It does look like actually Lambo thought he could have broken him. Based on the Hive timing, it looks like Lambo assumed that he could have broken Nice then and there. So Lambo wasn't thinking further ahead. So some of this tech and upgrades are a little bit delayed. I mean, now they're on the way, sure, but this is giving Nice a little bit more time. And now Nice is maxing out. And that's terrifying. See Lambo pushing towards the left-hand side. Trying to knock down those gateways. Nice rotating over. Stalkers, they should be able to blink away. Again, this 4-base setup on Golden Aura is so difficult to break. Because of the terrain, because of the SimCity. But the 5th, that's a different story. You can see here that Nice is having a hard time expanding. Whether it's on the left or right-hand side. There's Creep on the left and there's Ling Roach on the right. Nice can still not get a base up. Meanwhile, the Hive is completed. We have Lurker upgrades on the way. Again, Lambo identifying that his ground army is what's lacking right now. He has Corruptors, sure, but we have seen many a good Zerg player die to the ground remax of the Protoss. Even if he kills all the carriers, what about the ground army? So that's what the Lurkers are for. I mean, you can go Lurker, you can go Broodlord if you wanted to. There's kind of different ways of getting there. You can go Ultra as well. The Lurkers are in position at the same time. Once again, we cancel the 5th. Lurkers have to pull back. But Nice is being all in here. Again, he still cannot expand. Lambo pushing in towards the 4th. And Nice, he has to commit. There's no turning back. There's no NG for a recall either. And no recall available. Corruptors are racing back home. Lurkers are in position. Do we have detection? Do you have a revelation? Oh. Oh yeah, we do have detection here. Server with the army. Corruptor, they go for the Mothership. Mothership does go down, but big storms on the Corruptors. The Corruptors are falling. The Carrier stands strong at the same time as Stalkers, they bust into the natural. And Lambo's in trouble. He's in trouble because of his tech. His tech and his production is under fire. We have 35 Hydras on the way, but we have Storm. Look at all those High Templar. As long as we hold on, as long as we don't waste the storms. Boys are being pulled. Hydras have arrived. And where are those storms? Do we even need it? it would help. Ravagers coming in. Some of the High Templar get focused down. 4 or 5 High Templar go down. We do not spend a single storm. That's a big misstep there from Nice, but it doesn't even matter. He's breaking through nonetheless. Who needs storm? Not even. As we finish the warp in, and Lambo, his army has crumbled here and now. The 35 Hydras, they get picked off one after the other. GG gets called, and Nice ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Again, the win condition for Nice, even though he couldn't expand, was to build up and max out. He was able to max out. Now, to be fair, because there was no 5th base, Nice was all in. Nice, he was completely all in there. It was win. It was just like end the game or die trying, right? Either kill Lambo or die trying for Nice. And what's important there is that the Lurkers weren't able to protect the natural. We were able to bypass those Lurkers. The Corruptors were out of position. Lurkers went down to the carriers. The natural base was shut down, and when the Corruptors showed up, they just took every storm to the face. Nice very quickly snowballed out of control. Things escalated very quickly there, and Nice takes the win. GG. GG, well played. Again, he was all in as well. Like Lambo, he just had to buy some time there, try to hold on. Unfortunately, wasn't ready for it. We were talking about how his anti-ground army was lacking a little bit there, and even his anti-air army was lacking, and GG. GG, well played. We are now tied up 1-1. We have that back and forth. Let's go. And that is huge because in that push, if you remember, he delayed his tech. If you remember, he delayed his Lurker tech, his Hive tech, his upgrades. He was putting a lot on the line there, and he failed to break his opponent. He failed to break Nice in that trade. He actually lost a lot there. And then after that failed push, then he started to work towards his Lurkers, towards his upgrades, towards everything else. everything was delayed as a result, and it did mean that there was a window of opportunity there for Nice to take advantage of. On top of that, it was a shame that Lambo was split up. If you remember, when the push occurred, Lambo had his army split in half, but here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have ByuN for Shopify, and in the top right, we have Stats for Twisted Fairy. But that's another, maybe even a bigger factor, is the fact that, if you remember, Lambo, he had his army split up, he had his corruptors across the map, he had his lurkers exposed. Because of that, Nice was able to break 2 armies at a time. Like, he was able to deal with one army first, and then the other, instead of dealing with Lambo at his fullest, at his strongest altogether. So there's kind of a lot that kind of factored into that as well. A lot that did factor in. You know, on the one hand, sure, Lambo's counterattack did mean that Nice was all in, but really he was already all in. Like, the denying the 5th base and breaking into the natural didn't really add anything there for Lambo. It didn't really help him in that situation. As ByuN, Bapi, we are mining through the right-hand side. We're going for a proxy Rax. Let's go. Okay, so it's 1 Rax back at home. I imagine this is going to be... I'm curious. I'm curious if this is going to be a 2nd Rax across the map. Based on its positioning, it looks like it's not. We could spice things up with even a proxy factory. We'll see. SCV is in position. Yeah, we're waiting for the Rax to finish. And there it is, the factory's on the way. Now, with this proxy factory, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a proxy factory with a proxy starport alongside it. I don't think we can lift the factory into the main base. I think that's a little bit too spicy here, and I don't think the main base is big enough, especially based on Stats' positioning with his Reaper wall-off. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a proxy starport, but we'll see. We'll see if we try to lift into the main, if we are that crazy. Factory is soon to finish. Meanwhile, Stats went for a standard opener, went for a gate cyber expand. Yep, there it is, proxy starboard. Yeah, makes sense. Does make sense. Now, this is very committed here by ByuN. This is very, very committed. This needs to get damage done. Stats has not scouted this. He is not confirmed. Back at home, ByuN amassing Marines. This is going to be a short one. Oh boy. Here we go. I mean, this is like borderline 1 base all in from ByuN. I think I want to call it a 1 base all in. Like, the natural is so late here. It's so delayed. There it is. We are expanding. We are working on that next step. But because it's so late, we need, like, there's that much more onus here on this to get damage done. As we're dropping into the main. It's going to be about how quickly Stats can react. And what does he have to work with? I believe he has a handful of Stalkers. Twilight Council's on the way. Another gateway as well. We have 2 Stalkers towards a natural and a shield battery. But what is in the main? No shield battery, no pylon for it either. No Stalkers in position. This can get damage done. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. There we go. 3 Hellions do one-shot a probe. And they're in the dark. Stats has no vision of the main base. Dives into the middle line. Probes are going down. Can we split? So far, 4 probes go down. We get 5. We get 6 as well. 7, 8 probes falling. An insane 11 probes go down. An insane amount of damage. And ByuN has done enough already. And he's still not done, by the way, because the 3 Hellions are still alive. Even with a shield battery, we still one-shot. 13 probes go down. 16 pro- oh my god, this is game ending. 18 workers, that is over a mineral line. And at this point, yeah, ByuN, he knows, may as well just sack them. Sack the Hellions and get as much as we can, as much as we can. 19 probes. Can we get 20? No shot. Not quite, but 19 is still far more than we needed. ByuN is already floating back home. His CC may have been delayed, but again, he did what he needed to. Now, the downside here is that ByuN is vulnerable. So a couple of things. Because the factory and the starport are floating over, there's no medevacs. There's also no tank production. So Stats needs to counterattack here and now. There's no tanks, there's no medevacs, there's no Banshee, there's none of that. There's only Marine and bunkers. Marines and bunkers to defend. We are now getting into Marauder production. We are vulnerable to a Stalker counterattack. The Prism is on the way. Stats is not out of this. We have to bounce back. We have to hit back here and now. And Stats is pushing. Stats is pushing, does get eyes on the bunker on the low ground. Remember, with Blink, we can bypass the low ground. We can go straight into the main. Blink is still a couple of seconds off. The bunker taking a lot of hits. Boys are being pulled. They're repairing. ByuN is holding onto that natural, but here comes that prism. Here comes that high ground. The high ground vision, I should say. And Stats, you can just ignore this. Now, is there a bunker in the main? That is what I'm curious about. We haven't quite seen the main base in a little bit of time here. But if no, there's no bunker in the main. Uh-oh. We're going for the natural. We just go for the natural. We focus it down. The bunker does fall. And Stim is not done. Bear that in mind. Boys are being pulled. Good target firing here by Stats. Does focus down one of those Marauders. We're going to keep pushing. We cannot back off. Stats needs to keep going. And once again, good target firing on those Marines. Only 2 SCVs have gone down, but Stim is about to finish. Again, we're on a timer with the completion of Stim. ByuN can shut this down. He still needs a couple more seconds, though. And there it is on the right-hand side. 10 seconds away. Now we see Stats rotating into the main, but it's too late. Yeah, it is too late. Stim is done. ByuN holds. As I say that, though, we go for a warp in with Zealots. Okay. Show us what you got. We're going for the split push. And how good is the micro here of Stats? He's deflected at the natural SCVs. A lot of them are going down. And 9 workers fall and lost mining time. Very nicely done. You can see Stats evening up the worker count. And we go for another warping of Zealots, and yeah, we're breaking through the main. Reinforcements have arrived. We get the medevac. Good pickoff. With the death of a medevac, that will soften up. I should say that will weaken the counterattack. As once this gets deflected, ByuN, I'm sure, wants to go for some drop play. He wants to move out with drops, and he does catch a couple of Stalkers. Again, Stats has to be careful. Back at home, Immortal production has commenced. We have the Bay on the way for Colossi. Third base as well. Now the question becomes, can Stats defend now? Can he defend against this counter push that is soon going to be coming? We have Stim, +1. Concussive Shell on the way. Yeah, ByuN is pushing. The steel feels on a knife's edge. He goes for the prism. A brutal siege there from the Warp Prism. It does go down. We catch the Stalkers as well. Big pickoffs, and Stats, he's in trouble. The pendulum swings from one player to the other. Thankfully for Stats, these medevacs are out of energy. They've been working overtime here, keeping this army alive. Stats has high ground. He has force fields. And a shield battery as well. Good setup. A good setup at the third, but ByuN, he rotates around. He avoids the third base, going for the natural instead. ByuN doesn't have too much here at the third, but there we go. Does go for the drop. Stats getting pulled apart here. We do have the overcharge. The overcharge does help out. Immortals, they get caught though. The Immortals, they focus them down one after the other. Oh, these are expensive losses for Stats. And this is getting out of hand. Yeah, GG gets called. It's just too much, and ByuN takes game number 1. Whew. GG. A very strong start for ByuN, getting 19 probe kills at the start of the game. That was brutal. I spoke about how going for a proxy factory and starport is so committed. You have to get so much done, because it isn't just because your production is out there and of course you're investing into a fast Hellion job, but also because your production is floating back home, which means there are no tanks, which means your defense is weakened. But ByuN held. ByuN, he was able to cripple the economy, he was able to hold on back at home, buy enough time for Stim, and bounce back. GG, well played. Again, very intense game there. And ByuN fights back for his team, but can Stats tie it up? As a reminder, it is loser's pick. Loser's pick here in WTL. And because there's no vetoes, honestly, 1-1 scores are more common than not. They're much more common here. The power of loser's pick is actually quite huge, especially in this map pool, where there's just so much variety in the maps. There's so many quirky features in a lot of these maps. Up the chat. Oh, as we're getting into our second game, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have ByuN for Shopify. And in the bottom right, we have Stats for Twisted Fairy. there was a discussion about max packs and hero, as there always is. Did Stats probe scout? Ooh. I know that if he did probe scout, I don't think he did. If he did probe scout in that last game, he didn't get into the main base because, if you remember, ByuN went Marine first. And I remember that, yeah, the probe, if it did get across the map, did not get into the main at least. But I wasn't too sure. Regardless, we are settling in. Probe does check the linear third base first, just to make sure there's no shenanigans here from ByuN as we get across the map, making sure we get a read on our opponent. As Stats is going for his Nexus, it is going to be a gate expand into Cybercore. Probe does arrive. Does confirm the Rax timing, and we do back off from here. Just making sure we can disrupt the opener. Again, with the single gas opener from ByuN, it is a Rax expand for a CC on the low ground. There it is, it has been thrown down. Stats unable to delay it for too much longer. But with Stats seeing that CC, he's fully aware of the build. He's fully aware of it. Is where the ByuN is, of course, being more economic, and we can ease our way into game number 2. Let's go. Now, on a map as small as Goldenore, I imagine we're going to be seeing another Twilight Council opener, but we'll see. The Stargate play is still, of course, very viable, getting into an Oracle first or a Phoenix, but typically it is considered a little bit safer to go into a Twilight Council instead, as ByuN is being greedy behind this. Oh my god! That is a third CC before Factory, before even second Rax. Let's go. All for one gas geyser. This should be 3 CC into 3 racks from ByuN. Not the first time we've seen this from him. Usually we see this on larger maps, though. On maps like Post-Youth or Alcyone, for example. We've seen this build more commonplace on those larger maps. Just because you're cutting so many corners. Again, the downside of this build from ByuN is no tanks, right? No tanks, no map control either, no drop play to work with, very limited scouting. No scouting whatsoever. We have actually seen ByuN die to all-ins when he plays like this, just because he has no idea what's coming. Again, ByuN, no Reaper, no Hellion. His only way to scout really is scans. As his 3-rack setup is underway. Now, thankfully, Stats is going Twilight Council, not Stargate. And it looks like he's not going into, he's not going into a gateway heavy composition or a gateway heavy opener. It is 2-gate blink into a third. So economic build by Stats, which means ByuN should get away with this. If Stats had gone for something like 4-gate blink, then ByuN could be in some trouble. We could try to abuse ByuN and focus on Marines, and even with ByuN rushing into Stim, he wouldn't have any medevacs to sustain himself. So Stats could have made some headway if he had opened up more aggressively. But Stats doesn't know what ByuN's doing. Stats doesn't know how greedy ByuN is. So ByuN is getting away with this. Stats is just now getting into Blink, working towards his Observer. And we can see kind of the variety here, or kind of the wide breadth of play that ByuN has in his disposal. To be hyper-aggressive in Game 1 and be hyper-greedy here in Game 2. He's willing to play it all. Now we do see Stats moving out with his Stim timing, but there's no Warp Gate, there's no Warp Prism, for example, with this. There's no way to reinforce. He's moving out, there's a bunker in position. ByuN should be okay. Gonna catch a couple of spotted Marines, but ByuN is aware of the army, getting in position. Stats can always blink into the main, but likewise, ByuN is keeping up with the rotation, keeping up with the movement of Stats. And now Stats confirms that the third is already done. He doesn't just see the third, he sees it's already in orbital as well. Now Stats knows how greedy he's been. He sees the timing of the starport, the timing of the add-ons on the factory. He knows. So now Stats is aware of what ByuN is getting away with. Again, he can't really punish this. He just has to try to contain for as long as possible, to delay the third base of ByuN. So stats he's working on his Immortal production. Bay is on the way for Colossi. The pressure right now is on stats more than anything, as there's that third base soon to be taken. As we mentioned, stats has to try and delay. But I'm not sure if he can. Yeah, we have Stim. We force back the army. As we even chase down one of the Stalkers. Good pickup here by ByuN. Good use of that Stim. And the third base is now up and running. Scan even catches the Observer. Nice catch there by ByuN. Meanwhile, Stats, of course, is aware of the base, is getting into his fourth. Working towards charge. ByuN with his boosted economy rushing into Ghost already here. The Ghost Academy on the way. And now ByuN is broken free, is being active on the map. We have a double drop towards the main. We have a push towards the fourth. And can Stats keep up? Charge is not done. Those are slow lots, by the way. Slow lots to defend. Thankfully, there's limited kiting here in the main. Ah, that's a lot of Zealots going down, though. Yeah, we're going for the Twilight Council as well. Can we snipe it? We can! It's close! We do snipe it. Charge will not complete. Big pickoff. At the same time, though, we shut down the Medivacs, and we throw away a big chunk of army. I'm torn. Was that worth it here? That was 2 Medivacs worth of units with Marauders involved as well, and 1 Medivac was sniped. At the same time, though, we denied charge. Does mean that this push from Stats is that much weaker. At the same time, ByuN, with much less army supply to work with. Here come the Colossi. Stats is pushing in. Here we go. You can see him trying to catch any stray Medivac, any stray drop play. He drops from ByuN. Meanwhile, Stats working towards the gold. Restarting charge. You can see Stats, he's unable to find anything out on the map. And he's not committing. He's not pushing in. The War Prism has arrived, though. Now we can reinforce. Again, unfortunately not with charge lots, but still. The armies miss each other. Uh-oh. Things are about to get a little bit rowdy here as ByuN turns back around. He's racing back home. We do force a cancel on the fourth. Rush distance by ground on Golden Ore isn't too long. ByuN gets back home. Just in time, Kalaskin going for the surround. Oh, doesn't commit. Warpin does complete. Big EMPs here on those Zealots. And the Zealots there, they cannot touch this army. They're slow lots, Papi. They're being kited to death. 1 Colossus goes down. We take down the Prism as well. And ByuN chases this back. Shuts down more of these Zealots. Oof. Yeah, these are expensive losses here. A lot of Zealots going down. The Colossus is exposed as well. And ByuN snowballing out of control. He's up in supply. We have nothing to defend here. No more robo-based units, no Immortals, no Disruptors, no Colossi, no nothing. We have slow lots, though. Zealots go down. Charge now finishes up, but there's barely anything to make use of it. Barely any Zealots left. We have the overcharge, but it doesn't even matter. The DPS is too damn high. And ByuN, he sims on 40. He's going for the kill, going for the throat. The Colossi doing what it can. Gets a couple of swipes off, but it will fall as well. And yeah, you can see their Stats shaking his head a little bit on cams. Not happy about the situation, but knows that there's nothing else he really can do here. It is a numbers game as we came to the production. We deny the Colossus. Oof. And with this, ByuN, he's going to be taking a lead here for his team. The Shopify. A pretty substantial one. Stats, he warps in 1 final wave of gateway units. Leans back in his chair. Not like this, Papi, not like this. GG gets called, and ByuN will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. And with that, Shopify take a lead 3-1 over and after that happened, we spoke about how because Classic isn't in this season of GSL, he needs to put that much more effort into these online tournaments, into WTL, and into other events as well. And that led into 2 days ago. If you were here, you would have seen Classic. He clowned on Max Packs. He 2-0'd Max Packs. This was 2 days ago, and he 3-0'd Solar. Classic, he was this week's Kung Fu Cup champion. He 3-0'd Solar, he 2-0'd Max Packs, he 2-1 ByuN. Classic went on a tear a couple of days ago, and we spoke about how because Classic is not in GSL, again, these tournaments mean that much more to Classic. So, best of luck to Harstem. Here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Harstem for Shopify Rebellion. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have Classic for Twisted Fairy. Now, as is being pointed out in the chat, Harstem is playing in ESL at the moment, in EPT Spring, if I recall correctly, the regionals. This series was played ahead of time. This was played ahead of time, submitted. No one knows the outcome of this series except for those that were involved, Harstem and Classic themselves. So, yes, these were played ahead of time, and this is a replay cast for this specific best of 2. ByuN vs Stats was live. ByuN vs Stats was live. This is submitted, and here we go. We're getting into our PvP. Again, can Harstem do what Max Packs could not? Can Harstem take a game? As a reminder, Harstem only needs 1 game here against Classic. Only 1. And predictions are open. Predictions in the chat are open. Place your bets. You have like 30 seconds. You have a couple of seconds here to place your bets. Get them in while you can. Best of luck with your predictions. Here we go. I see in chat, Stats is ridiculous attacking without charge. Well, I mean, what else could he do? That's the thing. Like, because of the opener, winding it back a little bit, because of ByuN's greed, because he had gotten away with so much, there was so much pressure on Stats to move out. So I don't blame him for moving out initially. It was just such a shame he got caught out in the center, in the middle of the map. Remember, he got surrounded. He got collapsed on from 2 angles. I don't think Stats really intended to commit there. As Harstem, are we going for a 1-base all-in? Cybercore is finishing. Show me the Robo. Pylon is done, and it is going to be the Robo. Okay, Harstem going for the 1-base all-in. Meanwhile, Classic back at home, going for a Gate Cyber Expand. Okay. Here we go. So Classic is being more economic. He's being greedy. Classic is basically doing his best Max Packs impression. Oh boy. So Classic going for a Gate Expand, did go double gas, but he goes for the Nexus before the Stargate. Zelda's coming in, and Zelda scouts. Classic, he's aware of the all-in, but knowing is half the battle. Remember, Classic, he delayed his tech, he delayed his now Robo for that faster Nexus, but can he defend? Can he hold on to that base? Because Harstem, he's coming. Here we go. That's Hell getting a lot of damage done. Can we focus on the Pylon? The Pylon, it's going to go down. It's going to fall. Big delay here. Bearing in mind, Harstem, he's all in. Time is working against him here. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Classic. And that is a massive delay. A massive pickoff. Harstem even getting supply blocked. No. The supply block, the, of course, delayed Prism. Adepts are shading across the map. Classic is in position. So far, good start for Classic. A good start for the Red Protoss. Pylon does repower the Robo. Gateway's on the way. Getting back into the War Prism. And Classic is getting into his own Immortal production. Fun fact, because of that delay, Classic's Immortal is faster than Harstem's. Like, Classic, he has faster Immortal production, which is wild, by the way. But Harstem is going for a bit of a Hail Mary play. I mean, I say that he's going to harass the main base, heading into the main with that War Prism, with those Adepts. Does get a probe. It's 1 probe so far. Gets a second. The rest of the army is in position. We do shade in towards that natural, but there's nothing to kill. Nothing here for those Adepts. So good defense so far by Classic, only losing 2 probes. You can see Hallucination chasing down that Prism, keeping an eye on the army. First Immortals are out. Classic delaying, or because of the lost mining time, his second Immortal is delayed. Going for the Prism. Oh, Prism takes a lot of hits. Does take some hull damage. Harstem has to be very careful with this. Does arrive with that second Immortal. We're going for the Force Fields. And good Force Fields here from Harstem. But we have the counter drop play. Harstem and Classic diving on each other. Classic down in Immortals. Has to back off. Does have to retreat to a shield battery to the overcharge. Ooh. Bleeding out too much here. A Stalker goes down. A Sentry goes down. Classic, he's in a lot of trouble. He bled out far too much. You can see Harstem going for a split push. At Classic, he has gone into a second Immortal. That's a lot of Adepts. And we go for the Pylon. The Pylon is going to go down. Brutal pick off. We depower one of the gateways. Classic is up against the wall. Harstem pushing in. He dives on the shield battery. Shield battery goes down. The overcharge, not even a factor here. And it looks like Harstem, he has enough. He has too much. Forcing his way through. And Harstem has been doing very well in the regionals, by the way, of EPT. And he is doing what MaxPax could not. GG gets called. Harstem with the one base all in. Despite this start, despite the depowered Robo, he does break through and he will win it here for Shopify Rebellion. GG, Papi. Oh my god. GG, well played. Shopify will win it in the end here. That is going to be the 4th win for Shopify. We will still play out game number 2, but Harstem, he did his job. He did what was required of him. He takes game number 1, pulls off the one base all in. Again, Classic, a little bit too overconfident, pushing out on the map the way that he did. On top of that, Classic delayed his second Immortal as well. He had a rough fight outside of his natural. Things just very quickly snowballed out of control. And here we go. We're diving into game number 2. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Harstem for Shopify. And in the top left, we have as opponent, we have Classic for Twisted Fairy. And, okay, look. It's still kind of the start of the year. We're still in the early months, kind of. Jeez, how the months have flown by here in 2024. But is this the year? Finally, is this the year of Harstem? Are we here? Have we made it? Is it happening, Bob? Again, Harstem, he's been doing well for himself over in EPT Europe. Popping off against Showtime, popping off against Skillus. Does Harstem have the best PvP in Europe? Is his PvP better than MaxPax? Possibly. He's crazy. He's on fire. The content man himself. Let's go. Let's go, Papi. I'm telling you, watching all those, what's the name of the show? Watching all those, like, hidden MMR replays. Watching all the diamond players, the master, it's paying off. Let's go. As we're loading into Side Delta. Now, Side Delta is known for its more greedy play. Ooh. Harstem, are we doing it again? So, because there's a ramp at the natural base of Side Delta, it is very common to go for gate expands. It's very common to go for these economic builds. Classic, once again, going for a gate expand. Harstem opening up with a proxy. Now, based on the pylon placement, this looks like a proxy Stargate. This does not look like a one base all-in. Again, this pylon, it's too far away. It's too far away for a Robo. I want to say that. Show us the Stargate. We're waiting for the Cybercore. Cybercore finishes up, and there it is. Stargate opener here from Harstem. Okay, so Harstem is going for a more economic build himself. What I mean by that is that this Stargate is designed to go into Oracle production, to harass across the map, and to cripple the economy of Classic as Harstem gets into his own natural. Not an all-in. But Classic is scouting. Oh. Classic, he is checking, he is scouting, and he does not come across the proxy. Barely. You can see him on the mini-map. He does end up going south, does miss it in the end. And I thought Twisted Fairy was leading, misreading the score. All good, all good. We're almost halfway through. I know, right? I know. We're almost halfway through the year. It's crazy. It's crazy. I feel like it was just January. I feel like we just had IM Katowice. Which we kind of did, but still. As Classic is going for a safety Void Ray back at home. Void Ray before expand. Okay. Basically, Classic is getting ready for an all-in. Yeah, safety shield battery on the way as well. From the side of Classic, and Epsay shade into the main. We don't commit. Do get one probe on the low ground. Oracle into the main base. Oracle into the main. We get 2 probes. We back up. Oracle does escape. And just like that, Harstem has a worker lead for now. Classic does have the faster Nexus, so... Oh, wait. Never mind. Harstem has a faster Nexus. Didn't realize how heavily Classic delayed his expansion. Remember, he went Stargate and a second pylon before that Nexus. Okay. So, Harstem looking pretty good. Looking pretty good right now. The Oracle survived. It looks like the Stargate is going to be shut down. Classic has found it. But yeah, Harstem able to take a worker lead, able to maintain it as well. Harstem already transitioning into Blink Stalkers. Blink is on the way. Harstem just, honestly, he's just ahead. He's just ahead right now. Oh my god. Like, it did feel like Classic overreacted or just assumed the worst. He assumed that it was going to be a one-way solo and he was preparing for a push that never came. And we do manage to get another probe. Managed to get another probe here at the natural. As the pressure is on Classic. The individual player matchups posted anywhere in advance? Yes, on Wikipedia. I believe once they are determined internally, they are updated on Wikipedia. As we get a stasis across the map. Classic popping. Oh my god! Popping off, getting every single probe in that mineral line. I believe there's only one worker left mining, but we also got a gas mining probe as well. So I want to say 16 probes get caught. Massive stasis there from Classic. And this is how we bounce back. Ay, ay, ay. Again, Harstem had a strong start here, but Classic, he is one of the best Protoss players in the world. Classic is not going down without a fight. As here we go, Harstem is pushing. Blink is about to finish. This is a very strong Blink timing here for Harstem. Gets a probe. Oh, catches the Oracle as well. Very nicely done. Oracle goes down. Harstem pushing in. Shield battery a little bit too far away. The wall, the ramp is exposed. We got a pylon, we got the sentry. Remember, Blink is done. Good control here out of Harstem. Forcing his way in. Oh, doesn't quite get the Stalker. Bleeds out one of his own. Classic does hold. Harstem calming things down. Now remember, Harstem has high ground vision. If he wanted to, he could try to go into the main with that Oracle. He could bypass the natural. He's thinking about it. There we go, working his way towards that main. Back behind this, Harstem expanding, taking a third. Going for the stasis instead. Ooh, Harstem bleeds out 2 Stalkers. Bit of miscontrol there from our blue Protoss. And a nice catch, a nice bait from Classic. Yeah, shuts down the stasis. Void Ray arrives as well, and Harstem gets forced back. Good engage from Classic. Harstem still maintains the Stalker lead. And he still maintains his economy as well. Remember, there's that third. It's halfway done. Classic still has not begun. So there we go, just now gets thrown down. Here we go. There's a page for the regular season. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to link to the Wikipedia page yourselves. There you go. We have our commands. We got you covered, Bappy. We got you covered. And now the game is settling from here. Both players expanding. Harstem still with his worker lead. He's up almost 10 probes compared to Classic. Getting into his own immortal production. Still has the Stalker lead as well, I believe. Oh, my apology. Classic's getting into Immortals. Meanwhile, Harstem's sticking with a gateway-based army. Stalkers and Zealots. As Harstem is reinforcing, moving out here and now. Can they catch an Immortal? Oh, not quite. Good reaction out of Classic. Force fields are thrown down. The Immortal gets caught out. Oh, the juggling. Classic does barely save the Immortal, but sentries are going down one after the other. Classic, he will hold though. Sace is catching a couple of Stalkers. And 3 Stalkers get caught. Void Ray goes down. Oh, Harstem bleeding out a lot of units though. Does have to pull back that one Immortal, putting in a lot of work for Classic. And so many Stalkers go down. And these Zealots a little bit too late. And Classic should be able to hold on here. Yeah, good juggling. Harstem heals a lot of Stalkers in that fight, but he goes for the Immortal. Oh, barely does get it. The Immortal goes down as Stalker versus Stalker. More Zealots coming in though, and Classic he overwhelms. GG gets called. Harstem bleeding out far too much, losing his entire army. And Classic does get his revenge here, tying up the series with Tuna Cup, so 2 tournaments back-to-back. 2 tournaments back-to-back here, and again, we're not done. We are not done here tonight. We have another broadcast that's coming up in 20 minutes. We might as well... Do we keep the stream going? I'm torn. I'm a little bit torn here, but we may as well keep the stream going. The stream is going to be going on an extended break. It's going to be an extended break here. A tournament that's starting up in 20 minutes is the Hatchery Cup. The Hatchery Cup. Actually, you know what? I can do something here. Hold on. We have the technology. That was Kung Fu Cup. Not what I wanted to look at. Here we go. Bam! You can see it here on your screen. The Hatchery Cup is starting up in 20 minutes, and we're going to be featuring the players that are not competing in EPT. We have in tonight's EPT matches, we have Cristiano, we have Shameless, Mindel VK, Gref, Geralt, Young Machine. Oh, that's GG Machine. I was like, Young Yakov, not quite. GG Machine, Nicoract, UED Soldier. We have players from around Europe. We have some Polish players. We have some Ukrainian players. We have players from Russia as well. And this is open to all, to be fair. It is an open tournament to all, and it is starting up in 20 minutes. So, yeah, we'll see you guys then. We'll see you guys then. The stream is going to be going for a bit of an extended break, and then we'll be back with some more StarCraft. Oh, we don't stop here, Papi. We don't stop. We don't end. We should, but we have StarCraft to cast. Always, Papi. Always casting. Also, I just saw Maddox. You weren't following? If you're still there, Este Maddox. Hope you're doing well, Papi. Hope you're doing well. Aye. But yes, we're going to be going on a break. Again, if you want some more World Team League, we got you covered tomorrow. Likewise, we have Sparkling Tuna Cup tomorrow as well. And we'll be back in 20 minutes. Otherwise, you can enjoy EPT Spring. EPT Spring Europe is currently going on. And I think Harstem is also playing in that tournament as well. I believe Harstem versus Hero Marine is starting up soon. Or did it already begin? They're mid-series. Okay, Harstem versus Hero Marine is mid-series, so if you want to tune into that TVP, they got you covered. Otherwise, we're going to be going in a short break. We'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Until then, thanks for watching. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. !socials in the chat. And we'll see you guys after the break.